need muna natin siyang ma-design. Okay? So, here are the guides which can help you in designing a PV system. Okay? So, of course, the first one, kailangan alam natin yung maximum, okay? Yung when that is connected in the system. So, titingnan nyo muna yung type of PV system na gagawin ninyo, whether hybrid, off-grid, or on-grid PV system. Okay? So, kasi kailangan, when you size your system, alam natin ano bang types ng PV system yung gagawin ninyo. And from there, okay, so kailangan natin ma-size properly, okay, yung system mo, whether that is grid connected, okay, standalone, or yung ating off-grid, okay, or yung ating hybrid system. Okay? So, halimbawa, yung inyo ay grid-connected PV system. So, kailangan alam natin how many, okay, PV arrays or modules yung ating gagamitin. Depending on the locations ng ating system, kung saan nyo siya ilalagay, kung ano yung mounting structure natin. So, kailangan ma-consider yon. Even yung sizing ng ating battery, charge controller, and inverter. Okay? And then, you need to find yung ating monthly average electricity usage. Okay? Kailangan alam natin ano ba yung total kilowatt hour natin, okay, na ko-consume, for example. So, kailangan alam natin yung usage ng inyong mga loads. Okay? So, yan, i-compute ninyo. Okay? And then, you can divide yung ating monthly average, okay, in days, kung kailan siya ginagamit. And dapat alam nyo din yung ating daily average peak sun hours. Okay? Ano pa? So, once na kinalculate ninyo yung ating electricity consumption, so this is an example, okay? So, halimbawa daw, meron kayong average energy usage na 34 kilowatt hour, okay, per day. Okay? So, and then halimbawa, titingnan ninyo din yung location ninyo. Ano yung peak sun hours? So, using yung ating na-discuss last time kung saan natin i-check yung inyong peak sun hours, hahanapin ninyo doon on that location ano yung peak sun hours natin. Okay? And then, of course, halimbawa makuha nyo na yung kanyang electricity consumption. So, with that sun peak hour, so you can have 7.55 kilowatts. Okay? And then you just divide that by or multiplied by 1,000. Okay? So, para makuha ninyo siya in watts. Okay? Tapos, after nyan, ika-calculate nyo yung number of solar panels needed ninyo for the system. Okay? So, dito, you need to apply, titignan ninyo yung kanyang efficiency. Okay? And you need also to take note na alam natin ilan yung naka-series and ilan yung naka-parallel. So, yung calculation naman nito as simply as what is needed kapag tayo nagko-compute ng naka-series at naka-parallel yung ating connections. Okay? And then, next niyan, kailangan ma-determine natin, okay? So, halimbawa naman ay yan ay standalone system na merong battery and inverter. So, kailangan, same lang lagi yan. Alam dapat natin yung average daily load requirements natin for the system. Okay? Need natin, like, what is presented last time, i-compute niyo yung battery, yung size ng battery, yung size ng inverter, anong charge controller yung inyong gagamitin. Okay, ano pa? So this is just a review, okay, nung pinakita ko sa inyo last time. So kailangan din, of course, ma-size ninyo, okay, yung inverter, batteries, even yung ilan yung solar panels, and yung ating charge controller na gagamitin. Okay? Ano pa? So, these are some of the example. Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, pwede naman kayong maglagay ng worksheet ninyo. Okay? Halimbawa, meron kayong load. Okay? So, kailangan alam lang natin kung number of use niya per hour, okay, ano yung wattage niya. So, kailangan kasi natin yung energy demand. Okay, so kailangan ay check ninyo yon. So, yan, i-apply ninyo later dun sa inyong case study. Okay, na dapat alam natin kung ano yung ating demand. Okay, yung inyong electricity demand. Kasi very important na ma-identify natin yung inyong demand para alam natin kung ano yung ilalagay natin, anong capacity ng solar panels. Okay, so these are the example. Okay, so you need to check. So ano pa? Sa battery sizing naman, okay, so ang important dyan, alam natin yung days or storage of autonomy, like what we discussed last time, kung anong number of days siya, okay, kung halimbawang fully charged siya, kailan niya mamimit yung loads, okay, na hindi siya naka-charge dun sa battery. So meaning, after charging, okay, so i-discharge natin yung battery ninyo, how many days pa siyang magagamit. Okay, so dapat alam natin yung autonomy periods ng inyong mga battery. Okay, so kailangan it will be able to meet yung energy demands natin. Okay, so kailangan alam natin yung days of autonomy. Okay, so how many days yung ating storage, okay, or yung ating autonomy, dapat you check, okay, on your battery sizing. Okay, ano pa? Isa pa doon is yung depth of discharge. Okay, so yung depth of discharge, so kailangan alam natin kung ano yung maximum allowable depth of discharge natin ng ating battery at a given system. Okay, so pagtaas ng ating autonomy periods, syempre mag-i-increase din yung magdi-decrease yung ating average daily depth of discharge. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nun, the greater yung ating depth of discharge, okay, mas mataas yung ating system availability. Okay? So, kapag halimbawang need natin yung inyong days of storage or your autonomy, so kailangan alam natin ilang days siya, okay? Tapos ano yung allowable depth of discharge. So titingnan nyo din. There are cases kung i-check ninyo yung kanyang manual ng battery, titingnan ninyo yung depth of discharge niya. It depends kasi yung kanyang maximum na depth of discharge. So ito naman usually pwede siyang in kung 50%, 60% or 80%. So titingnan ninyo yung allowable depth of discharge ng inyong battery. Okay? So usually makikita yan on the type and even the brand ng inyong batteries. Okay? And then, kailangan, alam din natin, so needed ba natin na how many batteries yung kailangan natin? Okay? What is needed here? Okay, siya ba ay may nakaparallel pa sa kanya? May nakaseries ba sa kanya? Ilan yung total number of series? Okay, so it depends naman kung ano yung inyong gagamitin na battery sizing. Okay, ano pa? So this is an example. Okay, so ito, depending on the type. Okay, so kaya kailangan you are resourceful, okay, in checking kung anong battery yung inyong gagamitin, anong type ng battery, anong brand. So yan naman meron yan for each manufacturers. I-check nyo lang kung anong manufacturers ninyo and kung ano yung kanyang based on the manual, i-check ninyo yung kanyang depth of discharge, okay, yung temperature, okay. So this is an example of that. Okay, so it depends kung ano yung inyong gagamitin na battery. Kaya dapat each group must be resourceful in finding kung ano yung gagamitin ninyo once na ma-size ninyo yung inyong battery. Okay, kailangan kasi we are based on facts na makakuha tayo ng information na which are available on the market. Okay, para we have the details na pwede nating gamitin. Naintindihan? Hello? Any questions? Okay, kasi dito is after nyan, you need to make sure na paano natin siya isa-size. So, syempre, dapat you are resourceful in finding the manual or brochures of those. Halimbawa, na-compute ninyo na ito yung needed na battery, meron ba niyang available sa market? So, kailangan ma-check nyo din. So, next is yung PV array sizing natin. Okay? So, yan, it depends kung anong types ng PV system yung inyo. So, syempre, dapat identify ninyo kung yung kanyang VOC, VMP, at saka yung ating short circuit current na diniscuss natin last time. And even yung ating yung types ng solar panels na gagamitin ninyo. Okay? Ano pa? So, aside from that, okay, is yung yan, i-check ninyo dito yung mga sample worksheet natin. Okay, ano pa? Okay, so ito din yung nandun sa ating, yung isa kong in-upload last time na sizing. So, kaya kailangan ma-check ninyo yung ating sample. Okay, sa charge controller, okay, meron tayong tinatawag na type. Dapat alam ninyo kung anong type ng charge controller meron yung system natin. So, meron tayong, ano nga yung ginagawa ng charge controller natin? Okay, let me see if you still remember. Albert. Nandiyan ba si Albert? Hello? Albert.
Andito po, ma'am.
Nandiyan si Albert? O ba't hindi ito na-imig? Ervin.
Andito po, ma'am.
Ervin Jairo. Nandiyan si Ervin. Hello? Oh, wala din. So, itong mga hindi na-imik na ito, aking itatanggalin sa Meet. Frances Sarah. Kasi kailangan, alam ninyo yan kasi meron na tayong what do you call this? Meron na tayong gagawin na yung inyong case study 2 and then after nyan, i-apply nyo yun para makapag-proceed kayo dun sa last assessment ninyo which is designing of the PV system. Okay? So, oh yes, Juan Miguel.
Ang Mr. po sa pagkakaalam ko po ay nagre-regulate po siya ng voltage tsaka current po mula po sa solar panel papunta pong battery po.
Okay. So kaya kailangan natin si charge controller para we can check kung para alam natin kung kailan siya full charge at kailan drain yung batteries natin. Kasi from there, mare-regulate natin yung voltage. Okay? So ito, pag kayo ay mag-check ng charge controller, usually meron yung types. Meron tayong pulse width modulation or PWM or yung ating maximum power point tracking or MPPT. Okay? So mostly use natin is yung PWM. So i-check ninyo kung ano yung applicable na charge controller na gagamitin ninyo on your system. Okay? Kasi very important class itong si charge controller para at least mapaprevent natin yung overcharging at hindi mag-reverse yung current flow natin. Siyempre kapag gabi. Diba? So, typically, yung ating charge controller, okay, so may i-size natin siya properly. Okay? So, halimbawa, meron kayong maximum power voltage na 17 volts. Okay, and then yung kanyang cell temperature is 25 degree. So, pwede siyang mag-drop around to 15 volts. Okay, in a very hot day, and pwede din siya mag-rise ng 18 volts on a very cold day. Okay, so yan, yun yung kanyang maximum power. Tapos, halimbawa kung meron naman kayong MPPT na solar charge controller. So usually ginagamit natin yun kapag meron kayong high voltage output operations. Okay? So ito yung sample natin. So yung ating charge controller, so pwede natin siyang makuha. Okay, depending on the number of modules in parallel, and then meron tayong pwedeng gamitin na safety factor which is 1.25. Halimbawa, yung rated current niya, so ano yung number of panels natin and its short circuit current multiplied by that safety factor which is 1.25. So kailangan alam natin yung rated na solar charge rating natin on that. Okay, so alam natin yung short circuit current and the number of PV modules natin. And we put yung safety factor natin. Kasi usually, bakit tayo nag-add ng safety factor? Kasi syempre, hindi naman exactly na, no, na full charge, okay, or kung exceeded siya, kailangan meron tayong safety factor. Okay? So yan, when you size yung inyong charge controller, you can use that calculation or formula. Okay? And then in cable sizing ito, pwede nyo din siyang i-check using yung PEC natin. So kailangan alam natin gaano ba kahaba yung cables na gagamitin ninyo from the PV modules up to the battery. Kasi syempre, i-check nyo din yung sa voltage drop niyan, baka naman sobrang layo. 'Di ba? So yung cable natin between yung battery bank and inverter, and then yung cable between the inverter and the load. Okay? So in cable sizing, pwede din natin gamitin yung ating PEC. Okay? Or these equations. Okay? So kailangan lang alam natin ma-size properly yung cables na gagamitin natin. 'Di ba? So ano ba? Kasi kailangan yung voltage drop, okay, ano yung allowable voltage drop natin in PEC. So check ninyo 'yon, okay? Para at least ma-maintain natin yung voltage drop level niya. Okay? So what else? So yung ating, okay, so meron na tayong battery, solar PV system, panels, charge controller, okay, so inverter, okay. So syempre yung inverter natin is required so that we will be able to convert DC to AC current. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Important yung sizes ng battery natin. So titingnan ninyo, gagamit ba tayo ng off-grid, on-grid, or hybrid na inverter? Okay, so in inverter sizing, so ito nandun din sa una kong in-upload na sizing ng inverter natin. So it depends on the total wattage connected to the load. Okay, so yun yung check ninyo. Kaya very important na ma-size natin properly yung ating demand. Okay, kasi dun siya magbe-base, no? So, dapat alam natin, tatandaan ninyo na yung inverter ninyo should be what? 25 to 30% bigger than the rated wattage of your appliances. So, hindi siya pwedeng ma-oversize at hindi siya pwedeng ma-undersize. So, una muna, i-check ninyo yung total loads natin, okay? Para makapag-size tayo ng inverter. Okay? So, yan. So, yun yung mga i-consider ninyo on design. Okay? Any questions or clarifications? Okay? So, you can check the following sample worksheet natin for each components para at least you have an idea. And aside from that, pwede nyo din i-check yung una kong in-upload on the Google Classroom, yung about sa design of a PV system. Okay? So, any questions or clarifications? May tanong kayo? Class? Okay. So, kaya kailangan alam ninyo paano tayo nagko-compute ng energy demand. Okay? So, as simple as what is needed kapag tayo nagko-compute ng energy requirements. So, yun din yun. Okay? So yun yung i-apply natin here in the calculations of a PV system. Okay? So what else? So aside from that, okay? So kailangan alam din natin yung solar economics and financial analysis. Kasi dapat alam natin kung paano natin siya yung costing, okay? So, very important yun. So, dito tayo on the application part. Okay. Okay. So, in Asia Pacific region, so usually, alam naman natin what are the countries, okay, in Asia Pacific region. So as you can see here, in the Philippines, okay, so this data are just from 2014, okay, based on APEC. So yung ating Philippines, as you can see, in 2014, so ito yon yung gray bar, diba? So ano yung makikita ninyo? So yung install capacity is mostly what? Okay, nagre-range lang siya between 200 to 400 megawatts. Okay, so usually, kung makikita ninyo, yung electricity tariffs natin here in the Philippines is depending on the market mechanism natin. Okay, so kasi syempre yung PV system natin, costing is what? Okay, is pricey din yung kanyang installation. Okay? So, dito, makikita natin yung mga sample of solar PV projects. Halimbawa, in Southeast Asia, okay? So, meron tayong masasabi natin na yung system mo is small, medium, or large depending on its kilowatts. Okay? Yung capacity. Halimbawa, kung below 100 siya, okay, so under siya ng small. Kapag siya ay above 100 kilowatts but below 1,000, so medium. And then if 1,000, okay, above, siya ay large scale na. Okay? So yun yung ibig sabihin yan. Na halimbawa, if you're going to install a PV system, dapat alam natin kung yan ay small scale, medium, or large scale PV system na yung inyong gagawin. Naintindihan? Hello? Okay? So, it depends. Ibig sabihin nun, i-check ninyo kung ano yung capacity, okay, ng inyong PV system. Kung ano yung capacity ng i-install ninyo na PV system. Okay? Next. So, tingnan natin. So, nandito din, ma-check ninyo yung about sa standalone system. So, these are some of the example. Okay? Ito. So, very important. Halimbawa, ito, yung small house in Malaysia. Okay? So, yan. So, ano yung kanyang configuration here? Okay? So, yan. Halimbawa, okay? Alam natin dapat yung location, ano yung area, ano yung irradiation doon, okay? Even yung number of panel natin, module rate efficiency, tsaka yung ating system performance, and yung ating time frame. Okay? Ano yung expected lifespan ng mga gagamitin nating components, so dapat we are aware. Okay? Ano pa? So, dito, pakita ko sa inyo yung, so kindly check kasi some of it naman, na-discuss na natin, okay? Bigyan ko lang kayo ng sample ng mga installed na PV system, okay? So, this is an example, okay? Kung makikita ninyo yung pinagkaiba nito, di ba dito sa isa, small scale lang siya, okay? Kasi siya ay sa residential lang. Itong isa, is large scale naman yung setup. Okay? So this is an example paano siya naging large scale. It's because yung kanyang capacity is ano, okay? So kung makikita ninyo, siya ay almost, yan. Okay? So from 2017 going to 2039, there is an increase na in the annual production. Okay? So kung titingnan natin dito, okay? So this is a large-scale factory rooftop PV system. So ganyan yung mga sample, okay? So ano ito? So roof-mounted siya. Okay? So kita ninyo yung kanyang setup, and then ito yung mga ginamit na components in a large-scale system. Okay? So kailangan kung makikita ninyo, your rooftop must be enough to cover, okay? Or it can accommodate yung ating PV system, yung solar panels na ilalagay natin doon. Kaya dapat you need to check the area. Ano pa? Okay? So ito, kapag yan ay smart grid na, okay? Siyempre, pag smart grid na yung system ninyo, okay, so siya na yung source, di ba? So kaya usually yan, okay, pag ganyan sa which can be used for smart grid system, yan na yung mga solar farms natin. Why? Because they are the one who will supply the energy. So part na yan ng generation system. Kaya kung makikita ninyo here in the Philippines, yung sa part ng ating generations, we have those renewable energy sources. Meron tayong solar farms. Okay? And that must be connected to the grid. Okay? So siya yung magsusupply. Okay? Wherein the energy generated from that solar farms will be transmitted using yung ating mga transmission system. Okay? So yan yung magtatransmit na magtatransmit through the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. So yan is an example, okay, ng solar farms wherein siya is on the generation na. Diba? Kasi siya yung magsusupply ng generated electricity papunta sa grid. And then papunta from the grid, it will be distributed dun sa ating distribution utility. Nakuha? Kaya makikita ninyo yung applications. Kaya here I presented to you para kita ninyo how is it differ kapag medium, kapag small scale, at kapag large scale na set up ng isang PV system. Okay? What else? So ito kasi is mostly case studies na, okay? Wherein it was collated para at least alam natin kung ano yung mga configuration and sample ng mga PV setups natin. Okay? Once na ma-design natin siya. Okay? So yan, these are some of the example na ginagamit natin and controls kapag large-scale PV system na yung gagamitin natin. Okay? So, ano pa? Okay, so kindly check the following samples. Okay? So, yan. Meron pa tayong solar farms. Kita ninyo kung gaano kadami yung sa solar farms. Okay? So, yan ay grid rack-mounted. Tapos, kung makikita ninyo, meron na tayo ditong control. Diba? So, that is an example. So, meron na tayo ditong control para at least we can easily. So, usually, ang iba pa nga gumagamit ng SCADA system, okay, para at least easy for monitoring. Okay? Ano pa? Aside from that, yan. So, pag kayo naman ay nag-4th year, so makakarating kayo dun sa mga power plants, okay, para at least in actual, makakakita kayo ng panels, okay, and yung ating controls, and yung kanyang components. So, sana pag nag-4th year naman kayo, makapunta kayo sa solar farms. Okay, so ito. So, yung atin here is on the part of the life cycle cost assessment. Okay, bakit? Kasi kailangan alam natin yung financial, okay? Alam natin yung solar economics and financial analysis. Okay? It's because that life cycle cost assessment is very important on power as in economic assessment method natin para alam natin kung paano yung cost of operation, maintenance, and disposal. Okay? So, syempre, when you design a PV system, dapat alam ninyo yung ating costing. Diba? So, kailangan you have a framework, ma-define natin kung ano yung time it will be used, okay? Ano yung ating time of operation, hanggang kailan, ano yung estimated cost natin, ano yung life cycle cost natin, and from there, kailangan makita natin how long it will be used. Okay? So, ano ba yung very important dyan? So, kailangan alam ninyo kung kailan natin, okay, kung after calculations na ito pala yung needed natin na components at rating ng PV system, depending on the demand, okay, ng consumer, dapat alam natin kung magkano yung magiging costing. Okay? And then, of course, part niyan yung planning. Okay. So, ito yung ating analysis period. Okay? So, alam natin kung kailan natin siya gagawin. Okay? Kailan yung time of operation. Okay? And how long it will be used. Okay? So, on the first thing, okay, kailangan alam natin yung timing of all the activities na needed natin. Diba? So, kailangan alam natin yung estimated cost of the system and dapat alam natin yung kanyang life cycle cost. Okay? So, here, if you're going to compute the life cycle cost, okay, of the project, kailangan, syempre, alam natin yung startup cost. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng startup cost? Startup cost is yung total cost natin for the system. Kung meron man na needed na fuel cost, pwede natin ilagay. Also, yung ating operating cost and maintenance, okay, same as yung repair and replacement cost. Okay, at yung ating mga residual cost or yung ating mga charges. Okay? So, this is an example, yan. So, ibig sabihin, para makuha natin yung life cycle cost niya, you need to determine yung investment cost. Ibig sabihin ng investment cost, yan yung total cost ng project mo, ng materials, okay? Ibig sabihin, kung magtatayo ka ng PV system, okay, yung mga materials kong ginamit, okay, kasama yan on the investment cost. Yan yung C sub 1. Nakuha? Hello? Yung ating operating cost and maintenance and repair, dapat you have an idea, okay, magkano? Halimbawa, ang nasira, for example, ay battery. Magkano ba? So, dapat meron kayong idea if there are cases na merong mag-fall, na meron siyang mag-failed na components, dapat we have measured na alam natin kung magkano yung magiging costing ng kanyang operation and maintenance, even yung repair niya. So, yan yung C sub OMR ninyo. Naintindihan? And yung replacement cost, if the case na hindi na talaga kaya na ma-maintain or ma-repair, anong gagawin ninyo? Class, pag hindi na kayang ma-repair. Hello? So, dun na yung papasok yung replacement. Okay? Yung C sub rep. And then yung other cost niyan, so halimbawa may residual, okay? Other finance charges, okay? So yung other cost natin, which are C sub O, okay? So there are cases kasi, for example, after ng replacement, kailangan pa yung checking, okay? And may na-add, for example, okay, na kumbaga itong other cost nyo, yung other contingency cost ninyo. Okay, halimbawa in the event na nag-replace kayo, okay, tapos yung other costing natin dyan kapag may other contingency na needed for the system. And then we have residual value, okay, cost, So, kailangan ma-add natin siya kasama na dito yung mga finance charges natin. Nakuha? So, yan. So, stated here yung the following costing natin. Okay? So, para at least, okay, pag nakuha natin yan, so you can have the following information. Yun yung about dun sa ating needed so that we will be able to check the life cycle cost. Okay? So, ano naman yung leverage? Okay, costing natin. Si leverage, cost of energy natin is usually used so that we can get and consider the cost ng inyong life cycle of and the amount of energy generated. Ito, kasama na yung energy generated. Kailangan natin, okay, makalculate siya, and that is what? Okay? So, you need to make sure na alam ninyo yung LCC natin, okay, yung ating life cycle cost, and kailangan alam ninyo yung amount of energy generated, okay, of the system. Okay? Ibig sabihin, pag mababa daw yung ating nakuha na levelized cost of energy, ibig sabihin, okay, mas mababa yung cost, okay, ng nagamit natin compared dun sa produce unit ng ating system. Okay? So, yun yung ibig sabihin niya. Yun yung kanyang relationship. And then, ano pa? Meron tayong supplementary financial measures, yung net savings. So, in terms of economic analysis, para ma-certain natin at ma-determine natin after completing the LCC and LCOE, dapat alam natin yung net savings natin. Paano siya? So, dapat alam niyo yung cash flow of your project. 'Di ba? Alam natin yung total savings minus yung maintenance, cost, and repair. Ibig sabihin yan, kailan ko makukuha or kailan ko yung payback time natin. Okay? So, dapat identify natin siya. So, you can have this formula. Okay? So, yung net savings niyan, ibig sabihin, how effective yung inyong project. Kasi, kung nag-invest tayo, okay, and then nakuha na natin lahat ng costing natin, kailangan ma-check natin kung mas mataas ba yung net savings natin. 'Di ba? Kasi sabi natin, kaya tayo nag-install ng PV system is for us to be able to what? For us to be able to, okay, lessen the bills, okay, or mostly kailangan ma-zero pa or wala na tayong babayaran. 'Di ba? So, kailangan identify natin yung net, okay, savings natin. It should be higher. Hindi siya pwedeng mag-negative yung value. Okay? So, ano pa? So, you need also to know yung ating savings of investment ratio or SIR. So, usually, that is a tool so that we will be able to determine ano yung ratio ng inyong net savings and even yung inyong investment. Okay? So, kailangan alam natin yung ating net savings, okay, divided by the value ng ating IRS, or yan yung present value of your total investment plus replacement cost. Okay? And minus yung inyong residual value. Ibig sabihin, pag mataas yung ating SIR, that is better, or you have an average income, okay, when you have this higher value no SIR. Okay, ano pa? So, we also have this net present value. Okay, so yan, yung present value of your future cash flows. Okay, ibig sabihin yan, para ma-identify natin yung cash flows natin for future projects natin. So, you have the following, okay, equation. So, you have this cash flows, and this one is yung present value natin or present value. Tapos yung K in terms of percentage, yan yung interest natin for the period of N. Ito, number of years, or kung how long it will be used. Okay? So, yung C1 natin dyan, yan yung inyong initial outflow or initial investment cost of your project. Okay? Ano pa? Meron din tayong tinatawag na internal rate of ratio. Okay? So yung IRR natin, that is the interest rate or discount rate, okay, nung inyong present value for that future cash flows natin after nung inyong initial investment of the project. So how it will be calculated. So kailangan alam ninyo kung ano yung average cash flow ninyo and then yung present value ninyo and its interest factor. Okay, whether that is annual or within that period. Okay? Ano pa? Kina-calculate din natin yung payback. Diba? Number of years para ma-recover natin yung initial investment ninyo. Okay? O yung inyong early outflow. Ibig sabihin yung inyong initial investment. Ibig sabihin, pagbaba, okay, nung ating payback period, ibig sabihin, you can easily na cover yung capital gains ninyo in an early time. Diba? So, kailan yung inyong payback period? So, kailangan alam natin dyan yung initial investment ninyo, yung number of year wherein you have the cash flow, okay? And then, kailangan alam natin yung inyong initial investment. Okay? So this is the formula which can help us calculate yung ating payback period. Okay? Ano pa? So yung ating system boundary naman, okay? It has two main divisions, so environmental system and the project system. Okay? So yan, this is an example of that. Okay? So ito sample lang magkano yung masasave natin. So you have manufacturing. So ito yung initial investment natin. For example, yung material, okay, yung machines, yung labor, okay. So hanggang doon sa repairs. So ito yon, meron tayong operation and maintenance, okay, and then even yung dismantling and disposal, kasama siya. Kaya kailangan malaman din natin ano yung mga other charges na pwede nating magamit, okay, when we have this installation of PV system. Okay, so this is the example na pwede natin magamit in terms of system installation. Okay, so yan. So kung makikita ninyo, everything goes na, syempre, there must be project cost. Okay, so kailangan alam natin, okay, yung total cost of your project, okay, kailan yung ating payback time, yung payback period natin, and how long it will be used. Ba? Para at least kita natin na talaga in terms of renewable energy, makakatipid tayo. Okay, it must be cost efficient, okay, cost effective, kaya nga yan ay renewable energy na yung source. Okay, so yan, you can check here, okay, on the following. Okay, so yan yung mga sample of the costing na pwede nating magamit in a PV system. Okay, so kindly check. Any question or clarifications? Hello, may tanong kayo? Class? Any questions? Nandiyan pa kayo? Hello? Any questions or clarifications?
Wala na po.
Okay, so kailangan you check the following resources. So now naman, yung mga software na pwede natin gamitin on the design of a PV system. So wait lang. Bago yon, panoodin nyo muna rin. Stop sharing ko to. Sabihin nyo sa akin kung naririnig nyo ha. Yan. Kindly inform me kung naririnig nyo class ha. Hello. Sabihin nyo sa akin ha. Wag heart.
Sige po, ma'am.
Dahil hindi ko makikita kasi ito. Kapag pag-present ko, are. Hindi ko siya makikita. Wait. Kaya iimita yun. Meron ba naka-present sa inyo? Class?
Meron po.
Fans ko to ha. Walang sound. Pakinig nyo? Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Kindly listen on the following video related to how we have the solar PV system design and
Ma'am, naimik po ba kayo? Wala po kayong sound.
Hello, pakinig nyo? Yung video.
Yes po, ma'am. Pero yung
Pakinig.
video po ay hindi.
Ha? Eh, ano naririnig nyo?
Mic niyo po.
Pero hindi nyo ari pakinig.
Hindi po, ma'am.
Wait lang. Bakit hindi? Wait lang. So, wait lang ha. Repeat natin, class. Wait. Stop sharing ko to. So, yung isang ahong i-download.
Ever looked at your roof and thought, ever looked at your roof
Eto. Sabihin nyo sa akin ha, kung pakinig nyo.
and thought, could I put solar panels up there? Well, you're
Rinig
in
na po,
exactly the
ma'am.
right spot. We're going to give you the complete homeowner's blueprint for going solar. I mean, we're breaking down the whole journey from staring at your power bill to finally flipping that switch. All right, let's get into it. So right off the bat, here's something you got to understand. Sizing a solar system, it's not just about crunching numbers. It's kind of personal. Think of it like a lifestyle audit. It's all about how you live your life, when you turn on the lights, what you're plugging in, and maybe most importantly, what you think your future is going to look like. And that leads us perfectly into step one, which is honestly the most important part of this whole thing. You have to know your usage. I mean, it makes sense, right? You can't build a solution if you don't really know what the problem is. And that problem, it's what the pros call your home's energy load. Okay, so how do you actually do this? First up, you're going to need to collect a full year's worth of your utility bills. Seriously, don't just grab one or two. You need the whole year, because that shows you the big picture. You know, the crazy high bills in the summer when the AC is blasting versus the winter. Then just add up all the kilowatt hours for the year and divide by 365. Boom, that's your daily average. But here's the kicker, and you can't forget this part. You have to think about the future. The power you use today probably won't be what you use in, say, 5 years. And speaking of the future, check this out. It's kind of wild how one single decision can completely throw off your math. Thinking about getting an EV? well, you better plan on adding a huge chunk of power to your yearly total. We're talking an extra 2,000 to 3,000 kilowatt hours. Honestly, forgetting to plan for big changes like this, it's one of the biggest and costliest mistakes people make. All right, so you've got your energy needs figured out. Now for the other side of the equation. How much power can your home actually make? And for that, we've got to look up at your roof. Okay, let's clear something up right now, because this one trips a lot of people up. You're going to hear the term peak sun hours a lot. And no, it does not mean the time from sunrise to sunset. Not at all. Think of it more like a unit of solar intensity. It's basically a measure of the best, most powerful sunlight you get right where you live. And believe me, it changes a lot depending on your location. So where do the panels actually go? Well, if you're in the northern hemisphere, a roof that faces south is pretty much the gold standard. It just soaks up the most sun all day long. But hey, don't panic if your roof isn't perfect. An east-west setup can be absolutely fantastic too. Why? Because it catches that powerful morning sun right when you're making coffee, and then it grabs the afternoon sun just as you're getting home and firing up the oven. It can actually match your lifestyle perfectly. And here's how we pull all that info together into one simple formula. To figure out the system size you need, that's measured in kilowatts by the way, you just take your daily energy number and you divide it by those peak sun hours we just talked about. Then there's this little thing called an efficiency factor you multiply by. That just accounts for the real world, you know? A little bit of power gets lost to heat, in the wiring, that kind of thing. This little equation right here, this is the secret sauce. It's the core formula every single installer is using. Okay, we've got our numbers, we've done the math. Now it's time to move from the drawing board into the real world. And that, my friends, means paperwork. Now look, every single solar project has a planning and permit phase, and the details can be wildly different depending on where you live. So to make this really concrete, we're going to use the Philippines as our example. It's a great way to see the kinds of hoops you might have to jump through. So this whole journey to getting connected to the grid, you can really break it down into 4 main stages. First is the planning phase, assessing your home and picking a great certified installer. Then you've got the permits. After that, the fun part, the actual installation. And finally, the last hurdle is getting that official connection to the grid, which is what lets you start selling your extra power back. That's the roadmap. So I keep saying getting permits, but what does that even mean? Well, if we stick with our Philippines example, it means getting an electrical permit from the office of the building official. And to get that, you need super detailed plans that are signed and sealed by a professional electrical engineer. You'll probably also need a local barangay clearance for the construction itself. Now, the names of these papers are going to change everywhere you go, but the process is pretty much the same. Every city has its own red tape, so a call to your local building office is always step 1. All right, permits are approved. Now we get to the really exciting part. It's time to actually build this thing and talk about what this investment means for your wallet in the long run. So you might be wondering, how does the power company even know how much to pay me? The magic is all in this one little device, a bidirectional meter. It's basically a smart meter. When you're using electricity from the grid, it spins forward, counting up what you owe. But when your panels are making more power than you need, it actually spins backwards, counting the credit you're earning. It's this clever piece of tech that makes the whole net metering thing work. Okay, let's talk about the big question. What's this all gonna cost? Let's get real with some numbers. Using the Philippines as our guide again, for a pretty standard 5 kilowatt hybrid system, you're looking at somewhere between 250,000 and 350,000 pesos. And yeah, if you want a battery, that's gonna add a pretty big chunk on top of that. But, and you really need to hear this, even with that big upfront cost, the whole system can pay for itself in just 5 to 8 years. I mean, think about it. That's a faster and frankly more predictable return than you get from a lot of other investments. And after that payback period is over, that's just pure savings every single month. So why would you shell out the extra cash for a battery? It comes down to one big thing, energy security. See, a normal grid-tied solar system has a safety feature. If the grid goes down, your solar system shuts down too. It has to protect line workers. But a battery changes the game. It basically disconnects you from that problem. The grid goes down and your lights stay on. It gives you power during blackouts and offers you something priceless, true energy independence. All right, before we finish up here, I want to leave you with what is maybe the single most important piece of advice in this entire explainer. Seriously, this is the golden rule of solar design. It is so tempting to just cover your entire roof with as many panels as you can fit. I get it, but that can be a massive financial mistake. The goal is always to right-size your system, to match what you actually use, not to oversize it. And the reason is really simple. Most power companies have limits. They won't just keep paying you for endless amounts of extra energy you generate. If you build a system that's way too big, you've paid for panels that will give you absolutely zero return on your investment. Literally zero. And there you go. That's the blueprint. From digging through your old bills all the way to getting connected and watching that meter spin backward, you now have everything you need, all the foundational knowledge to really start exploring this for yourself. So the only question left to ask is, what's your energy future going to look like?
Okay, so another one. So this is naman here in the Philippines.
So you're thinking about going solar in the Philippines? Smart move. Today, we're going to walk through the whole process, step by step, for installing a hybrid solar system. We'll cover it all. I mean, everything, from the initial planning right up to flipping that switch. Let's dive in. Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the answer here is a resounding yes, right? If you're in the Philippines, you know the deal. Those crazy high electricity bills, and of course, the brownouts that always seem to happen at the worst possible time. It's frustrating. But what if you could actually take back control of all that? Well, say hello to the hybrid solar system. Look, this is so much more than just slapping some panels on your roof. This is the whole package. You've got the solar panels, sure, but you also have a battery and a really smart inverter working together. And here's the magic part. It's built to keep everything running. I mean, your lights, your fridge, your Wi-Fi, even when the rest of the neighborhood goes dark. That, my friends, is what real energy security feels like. Okay, so to make this super simple, we've broken the whole journey down into 5 main parts. We're going to start with what I call solar homework. Then we'll tackle the paperwork. Don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. After that, the fun stuff, the installation. Then, getting you connected to the grid. And finally, the part everyone's waiting for. How much does it cost, and what's the payoff? Let's go. All right, let's jump into part 1, your solar homework. Think of it this way. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, right? Well, it's the same idea here. Getting this planning stage right is absolutely essential for a successful, headache-free installation. So this homework really comes down to 4 basic things. First up, you need to figure out how much electricity you're actually using. The best place to find that? Your past utility bills. Second, you've got to ask, is my house even a good candidate for solar? We'll look at that. Once you know those 2 things, you can figure out the right system size, which leads you to the most important decision, choosing the right installer for the job. Okay, time to put on your engineer hat for a second. First, your roof. Solar panels last a long, long time, like 25 years or more. Is your roof up for that? You really don't want to have to replace it after the panels are already on. Then look around. Any big trees? A tall building next door? Anything that's going to cast a shadow on your panels is going to kill your production. And you know, here in the Philippines, a roof that faces south is pretty much perfect. And finally, the big question for a hybrid system, battery power. How long do you need it to last? Just a few hours to get through a typical brownout? Or are you hoping to power through the entire night? That's a key decision. Okay, listen up, because if you only remember one thing from this section, make it this. Your installer must be accredited by the Department of Energy, the DOE. I'm not kidding, this is non-negotiable. It's not just a nice to have, it's a requirement if you want to get approved for net metering. No accreditation, no approval. It's that simple. All right, homework is out of the way. Let's move on to part 2, the paperwork. Now, I know, nobody likes paperwork, but seriously, take a deep breath. The good news is that the process has gotten so much faster and easier recently. This is totally manageable, and it's the path to getting that official green light. It really boils down to just 2 key permits to get started, the electrical permit and a clearance from your barangay. That's pretty much it for the permissions. And of course, if you're planning to get a loan for this, now's the time to get that sorted out too. So let's get specific. That electrical permit, you'll get that from the Office of the Building Official, the OBO. And don't worry, you don't have to draw up the plans yourself. Your professional installer will take care of all the technical drawings and get them properly sealed. The barangay clearance is usually a bit simpler, just a standard thing you need for any kind of construction. And hey, if you're looking at financing, there are actually some great options out there now. Banks like BPI and Security Bank have what they call green loans, designed just for this kind of thing. And definitely don't forget to check out what Pagabig has to offer with their solar loan program. You've got choices. Okay, here we go. This is the part we've all been waiting for. Part 3, installation. All that homework, all that paperwork, it all leads to this. This is when you actually see your very own power plant being built right on your property. It's pretty cool. So the installation itself is a very organized process. The crew starts on the roof, putting up the mounting racks and then the panels themselves. Meanwhile, someone else is usually setting up the brains of the operation, your inverter and battery, somewhere safe like a garage or a utility room. Then they wire in all the safety breakers and ground the entire system properly, which is super important. The last step before they pack up is to run some tests to make sure all the components are communicating just right. Now, before they even think about flipping the switch to connect to the grid, there's a really important test they do. It's called a zero export test. Basically, they're making sure your system works perfectly as a little island, powering your house all by itself, without accidentally sending any power back out to the street. It's a key safety check to make sure everything is A-okay before you get the final approvals. All right, your system is up, it's running, it's tested. Now for part 4, connecting to the grid. This is where you graduate. You stop being just a regular electricity consumer and you become a prosumer. That's right, you're both producing and consuming your own power. Welcome to the club. And the key to becoming a prosumer is this program called net metering. It's basically a deal you make with your utility company. When your panels are making more power than you can use, like in the middle of a sunny day, you send that extra power out to the grid. The utility company sees that and they give you credits on your bill. So you're essentially spinning your meter backwards. It's an amazing setup. Okay, I know this list looks like a lot of steps, but it's actually pretty logical. You start by filing the application. That tells the utility, hey, I'm ready. They'll then do a quick study to make sure the grid in your area can handle it. After they give the thumbs up, you get a final inspection and you sign the official agreement. Then the utility crew comes out to swap your old meter for a new one. The very last step is getting your certificate of compliance from the ERC, and then you are officially good to go. So you might be wondering, how do they even track all this power going back and forth? Well, they take out your old dumb meter that can only count in one direction and replace it with a new smart bi-directional meter. This thing is clever. It can track the power you pull from the grid at night, and it can also track all the extra power you send to the grid during the day. And here we are, part 5, the one everyone asks about, the cost and payoff. You've done the homework, you've jumped through the hoops, so what's the bottom line? Let's talk money, and more importantly, your return on investment. And let me kick this off with some really, really good news. If you've heard horror stories about waiting forever for approvals, forget them. Those days are gone. Seriously, the government has streamlined things so much that the whole approval process now usually takes just 20 to 30 days. That is a massive game changer. All right, so here it is, the big number. What's the payback time? Typically, you're looking at a return on your investment in about 5 to 8 years. Now think about that. After 8 years max, the system has paid for itself. And since these things last 25 years or more, that means you're getting close to 2 decades of basically free electricity. How amazing is that? Okay, so let's talk about the upfront cost. What are we looking at? For a standard 5 kilowatt system, which is a pretty common size for a home, the panels and inverter will probably run you somewhere between 250,000 and 350,000 pesos. Now, for the hybrid part, the battery, that's going to be another 120,000 to 250,000 pesos. And the net metering fees, honestly, they're pretty small compared to the rest of the investment, maybe around 7 to 12,000 pesos. And this slide right here, this explains why that battery is worth every single peso. See, with a normal solar setup, the second a brownout happens, your system shuts down. It has to for safety. So you're sitting in the dark just like everyone else. But with a hybrid system, the grid goes down and nothing happens in your house. The battery just takes over instantly. You might not even notice the power went out. That's not just backup power. That is genuine energy independence. So there you have it, the entire journey from A to Z. We've talked about lower bills, we've talked about saying goodbye to brownouts forever, and we've talked about a solid financial payoff. The only question left is the one for you to answer. Is energy independence something you see in your future?
Okay, so another one. So this is the last video about sizing the solar PV system. So this is already uploaded
trying to figure out the right,
on your Google Classroom.
trying to figure out the right size for a home solar system, it can feel like this huge, complicated puzzle. But what if I told you it's actually a pretty logical process that honestly anyone can follow? Okay, let's just dive right into this and break it all down step by step. This is it. This is the big question, isn't it? It's the number one thing people want to know when they start even thinking about solar. And the truth is, the answer isn't just some random number. It's totally unique to you, your home, and your lifestyle. And that's because getting the right answer is this cool mix of hard data, like the angle of your roof and the weather where you live, and a really personal look at how you actually use energy. It's all about designing a system for your specific needs. So we're going to tackle this in 4 really clear stages. First, we'll figure out your energy appetite. Then we'll size up your home's unique solar potential. After that, we'll combine those with some simple math. And finally, we'll do a quick reality check to make sure it all actually fits. You ready? Everything, and I really do mean everything, starts right here. Before you can even think about what panels you want, you have to get a rock-solid understanding of how much electricity your home is actually using. This is the foundation for our entire calculation. So, how do you do it? Well, first, you'll need to do a little detective work. Go and gather a full year of your electricity bills. Now, this is absolutely crucial because it accounts for those big seasonal swings, like cranking the AC in August versus your heater in January. Then, just add up the total kilowatt hours for the whole year and divide it by 365. That gives you your daily average. Oh, and don't forget to think about the future. And here's a perfect example of that future growth I'm talking about. Are you thinking about getting an electric vehicle? Because that's a huge new energy demand, right? It could add 2,000 or more kilowatt hours to what you use every year. Factoring that in now is the key to not undersizing your system for later. Okay, so we've totally nailed down one half of the equation, your energy demand. Now we need to figure out the supply side of things, the actual usable sunlight that hits your roof. Now, let's clear up a common mistake right away. The term peak sun hours isn't just about how long the sun is up in the sky. Nope, it's actually a measure of intensity. It's the number of hours your specific location gets sunlight at its most powerful, which is equivalent to 1,000 watts per square meter. It's a really important distinction. So what determines your peak sun hours? Well, a few key things. Your geography is the biggest factor. I mean, Arizona just gets way more intense sun than Alaska, right? The direction your roof faces is also huge. South facing is pretty much the gold standard in the Northern Hemisphere. And of course, you've got to account for any shade from that big oak tree in the backyard or your neighbor's new 2-story house. All right, this is where it all comes together. We have your energy usage, and we know your available sunlight. So now we can actually build the blueprint for your system and calculate the exact size you're going to need. And don't worry, the math is really straightforward. See, the hard work is pretty much done. We figured out your energy needs, and we've evaluated your sun exposure. These 2 little pieces of data are the main ingredients for our formula. So, we have our 2 main ingredients, your daily energy needs and your peak sun hours. But to get a really accurate real-world number, we have to account for one more crucial factor. I love this concept, the reality tax. Look, no system is ever 100% efficient. You're always going to lose a little bit of energy as heat in the inverter, a little bit from resistance in the wires, and even from some dust that settles on the panels. This factor, which is usually around 0.8, it just accounts for all those real-world losses. And there it is. This is the formula. You just take your daily kilowatt-hour needs and you divide it by your peak sun hours times that efficiency factor. The number you get is your target system size, and it's measured in kilowatts, or kW. Okay, so having a system size of 7 kilowatts is great, but what does that actually look like? To get a real panel count, you first convert that 7 kilowatts to 7,000 watts. Then you pick a common panel size, let's say 400 watts. You divide 7,000 by 400 and you get 17.5. And since you can't really have half a panel, you just round up. You'd need 18 panels. Simple as that. We've got our number, 18 panels. Awesome. But now comes the final reality check. We need to move from the spreadsheet to the real world and make sure the system we've designed will actually fit and work on your actual roof. And there are a few practical things you got to check. First off, do you even have the physical space? 18 400-watt panels take up over 300 square feet. You also need to leave some clear space around the edges for fire codes. And you'll have to make key hardware choices, like deciding between a single string inverter or microinverters for each panel, which, by the way, can be a much better option if parts of your roof get shady during the day. And here's a fantastic pro tip. It is so tempting to just max out your roof with as many panels as possible, but it's often not the best financial move. See, there's this process called net metering, where your utility company credits you for extra power you send to the grid, but the rates they pay are often low or even capped. That's why right sizing to meet about 100 to 110% of your own needs is usually the financial sweet spot. So there you have it, the complete roadmap, all the way from your utility bill to a specific number of panels. The whole process totally demystified. So the only question left is, now that you actually know how to run the numbers for yourself, what are you going to discover about your own home's solar potential?
Okay. So I hope you're listening on the way on how we can size solar PV system. Okay. So now it is important that you know yung different simulation software, okay, that you can use in PV sizing. Kasi very important na aware kayo on the simulation software that you can use. And as you can see, these are also presented last time on the case study presented by each group. Okay? So for the information of everyone, we have a lot of simulation software that we can use in designing a PV system. So here, okay, we have Homer Pro. Okay, so saan natin ginagamit si Homer Pro? Kasi very important na you are aware on the different software na pwede ninyong gamitin on your design. Kasi gagawin nyo yan. Okay? In terms of design of a PV system, we have the following which can help you, okay, simulate. So, meron tayong Homer Pro. So, usually ginagamit natin siya in modeling electric renewable energy. Okay, if you have the solar, battery, and even yung other system, pwede natin gamitin si Homer Pro. So, ginagamit din natin siya in hybrid simulation system. Kung ang inyong gagawin is a hybrid simulation system, we can have the Solar Pro. Okay, pwede din siya in microgrid system. Okay, also, meron din tayong Aurora Solar. Si Aurora Solar, ginagamit natin siya as a solar design tool which can help us analyze yung ating shading, yung ating financial analysis, and it can be used in residential project. Pwede siya in residential and commercial PV system. Pwede din siya in designing a 3D and yung shading system natin para at least alam natin na on that particular location, okay, we can analyze yung shading. So this can also use for rooftop application and dun sa ating generation and financial analysis na diniscuss natin kanina. So what else? Also, meron din tayo class na PVSys. Okay? So si PVSys, ginagamit natin siya as an industry-based software for solar PV installation. Pwede natin siyang gamitin for grid-connected system. Okay, sa off-grid, pwede din natin siyang gamitin. We can use the PVSys, okay, for utility-scale projects here in the Philippines. And also, pwede din natin siyang gamitin for system loss analysis, even yung shading and energy yield production ng system natin. Okay? Ano pa? Meron din tayong helioscope. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, when you are doing the case analysis, you need to look at on how those software was used on that design. Diba? Kaya nga tayo ay nag-conduct ng case study is for you to know on how this software was used on the design. Okay? Si helioscope, ginagamit din natin siya in commercial and industrial PV system design. Okay? Ano pa? We also have the Open Solar. Okay, saan sa ginagamit? Si Open Solar ay free. You can just log in on that link. check nyo lang yung opensolar.com. So that is suitable for beginners in designing a system, okay, PV system, even on financial modeling and generation. So that is a free solar design tool which you can use in residential PV system simulation. So siya AI assisted na din yung system design. Okay? Ano pa? Okay? So we also have okay? So meron din tayong open solar, like what I said, and yung ating PVGIS or Photovoltaic Geographical Information System. Okay? So ano yan? Okay? So yon, online software siya or resource tool para makita, you can check on this, yung solar irradiance data natin, yung energy output estimates natin, and yung ating mga energy productions. Okay? So pwede natin siyang gamitin. What else? We can also have MATLAB. So si MATLAB, ginagamit din natin siya in hindi lang sa engineering simulation software, pwede din natin siyang gamitin for programming, okay, tool para alam natin kung paano natin magagamit yung modeling ng PV system, okay, yung algorithms na pwede natin gamitin, and even yung controls ng ating system, pwede natin siyang gamitin. So those are the software that we can use in the Philippines, and very important yung ating simulation software para we can predict energy generation. Okay? Before the installation, mami-minimize natin yung errors kasi na-simulate na natin siya. We can evaluate its performance before yung installation natin. And of course, we can check its financial costs. And since yung mga software na yan, okay, it uses standards, we can ensure that we are in compliance with those standards. Nakuha niyo, class? Hello? Naintindihan? Any questions? Hello? Nakuha niyo? So ano ba dyan yung mga ginamit niyo? Okay. So now, you need to install this one. Open. Kita nyo ba yung PVSys ko? So, eto. Doon lang tayo sa free. So, try to itong PVSys. Okay? So, one of that is yung PV software natin. So, this is used in design, simulation software for your photovoltaic system. Kita nyo? Class? Hello? Okay? So, kasi kailangan ma-apply ninyo yung ating, so, try natin siyang i-download. Ito, ganito ang gagawin nyo, class. Para at least maalam kayo gumamit ng software. Okay. So, once you open, try nyo nga to. I-open ninyo itong PVSys. Ito, madali lang siyang i-install. Try to install. Doon lang tayo sa 1 month na subscription. So, ito mag-e-end na. Okay? So, ang gagamitin nyo lang will be the free software. Nakuha nyo? Class? Hello? So, ito nag-e-end naman yung subscription nito. Okay? Tatandaan, doon lang tayo sa free. And take note, na-expire siya automatically. So, every open nyo ng software, i-remind kayo kung ilang days na yung left ng trial. Okay? So, hindi na siya mag-o-open once expired niya. Hihingi na siya ng license to activate. Okay? So, dun lang tayo sa free. Nakuha ba? Hello? Nakuha ba, class? So once na nag-stop na yung inyong trial, so no need na natin to activate kasi may bayad na yon. Nakuha nyo? Class? Hello?
Yes
Okay?
po.
So ang need
Yes,
kasi
ma'am.
natin is para alam ninyo kung paano siya gamitin. And then, ano pa? Si PVSys, nire-record niya yung mismong device na ginamit ninyo. Ano? So, kaya hindi na pwedeng gamitin yung laptop or kahit mag-change ka ng email address kasi record niya yung device. Okay? So, ito lang yung inyong pipindutin. Download ninyo to. Nakuha? Yung PVSys 8, you need to download. Try nyo nga. Try to download yung PVSys. Next lang ng siya. So, i-install nyo yan. Okay? So, download. Tapos, ang gagawin ninyo, okay, so ito, ang lalabas. So, next lang ng siya. So, ito yung lalabas dyan. Ito, yung PV setup. PVC setup. Okay? So, yan. Once na meron na nito, okay? So, yan. O-open ninyo siya. Meron bang nakapag-download sa laptop? Hello. So, after nun, di ba, may makiklik kayong setup. So, click nyo lang yon. So, stop sharing ko to. Hope na kayo naka-download. Kasi, kailangan nyo siyang gamitin. Okay. So, this one, yan. So, yan, ito. Yung PVSys, kita nyo? Ito. PVSys 8.1 setup. Kita nyo, class? Hello?
Yes
So,
po,
yan.
ma'am.
Yun lang yung inyong ikiklik dyan. Diba? Tapos, ano pa? So, simulation software, yung, diba, na-set up nyo na siya. Okay? Ang sunod niyan ay ito na. Once okay na siya, ito na yung inyong makikita. Kasi free trial lang siya. Yan. So, I will share it to you. So, try ninyong i-explore itong PVSys. Kita nyo ba? Hello, kita nyo yung PVSys? Class? May nakapresent ba sa inyo? Ayun. May nakapresent sa inyo? PVSys? Hello? Meron?
Ma'am, sa akin po wala pa po.
Sa
Ewan ko na
iba?
po.
Check nyo. Kung ano nakapresent nyo. Meron ba?
Wala pa din po, ma'am.
Wait lang. Wait lang ha, mag-open ako ng... Kasi ito, you need to explore this one. Ito, mag-aano ko. Baka ayaw nyo kapag yung ano lang. Ito, so kailangan, yan. So, sa free lang tayo. Mag-entire screen ako ha. Tapos, imi kayo kapag halimbawa kita nyo siya. Ito. Kita nyo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Ayan. So, ito yung PVC software. So, meron ditong video tutorials. For example, yan. O-open nyo siya. Try to explore. Okay. So, yan. So, si PVSys, meron siyang mga tutorial videos dito. So, try to open. Nakuha? Class? Hello? Okay? Yung creation ng projects nandito dyan, bifacial system, lahat makukuha ninyo dito, components, okay, introduction. So, try to open the following. Okay? So, yan yung about sa PVSys. Okay? Ano pa? So, once na open nyo din yan, makikita nyo yung PDF tutorials. Okay? So, lahat ng about sa system, okay, yan. Makikita nyo siya kapag grid connected, okay, yung 3D scene natin, okay, stand-alone, if may pumping system kayo, dito makikita nyo lahat on the software. So, dito lang tayo sa PVSys 8 kasi ito yung ating na-download. Nakuha nyo? Class? Hello? You can also check yung OpenSolar. Okay, kasi yun naman ay website. Check nyo lang OpenSolar. Try ninyo kung kayo makakapag-login, okay, using that part. So ito si PVSys, since yan naman ay easy yung installation. Yan. Kung halimbawang yung system mo ay magkakanda ka ng standalone, so i-click mo siya. So kita nyo ba? Okay. So titingnan natin yung inyong site and weather data. So, try to explore ninyo yan. Lalagyan ninyo ng pangalan ninyo, project name, anong country, for example. So, tingnan ninyo kung meron ditong Philippines. So, ano ba ang pwede dun sa atin? Yan, Philippines. So, i-click mo lang siya. Okay? Tapos, i-click mo yung kung saang site ninyo siya ilalagay. Nakuha nyo? Okay? Or pwede ninyong i-open yung site kung saan. Naintindihan? So, pwede natin i-open yung site. Saan nyo pa siya ilalagay. Hanapin ninyo kung saang location. Naintindihan, class? So, tingnan ninyo, may sunpat na dito, latitude, longitude. Pwede kayong gumamit ng other way natin para makita natin. Particularly kung saan nyo siya ilalagay. Para at least, kita ninyo dito sa Bacolod, meron na agad siyang geographical coordinates na magagamit ninyo yung latitude, longitude, yung time zone niya. So, nakalagay na dito. So, kailangan lang natin kung alam kung saang location kayo particularly. Nakuha? Hello. So, yan. Ano pa? Tapos, pwede nyong makita. Okay. So, try to explore itong PVSys natin. Okay. So, meron tayo ditong database. Yan. Geographical sites. Yan. Pwede nyong tingnan. Hanapin ninyo. Okay. Kung siya ay sa Philippines, for example, you need to look. Okay. Ano pa? So, weather data, okay, weather data and tables, kung ano yung PV modules na gagamitin ninyo, okay, on your system. So, nandito din. So, watch ninyo yung video at saka yung manual niya. Naintindihan? Class? Hello? Nakuha? Kasi gagamitin ninyo siya in designing. So, ipepresent ko yun sa inyo next meeting, okay, yung design na gagawin ninyo. Okay, so yan, try yan. Dito kung makikita ninyo may mga manufacturer, okay, yung specs niya, identified na din kung ano yung pwede. So yan. So try to explore yung ating PVSys, okay, so para at least aware kayo kung ano yung pwede nating gamitin, okay. So, try to explore yung ating PVSys na software. Understood? Hello? Nakuha nyo, class? Okay. So, yan. Nakalagay na siya lahat dito. So, kailangan lang natin siyang try to install first and then try to explore the use of yung ating PV software. So, meron na tayo ditong manufacturer, even yung pricing. Tapos, meron tayo ditong video tutorials and PDF tutorials. Nakuha? Class? Hello? Naintindihan? Okay? So, kailangan you know and try to open this. Pwede din yung OpenSolar. Pwede nyo din siyang i-check. Any questions or clarifications? May tanong? Class? Hello? Okay. So, good. So, i-stop ko muna to. Okay, so in relations to that, meron kayong gagawin na case study 2. So kung sino lang yung present today, okay, So, yun lang yung, so kayo ay 30. Okay? So, kayo lang yung sasubmit nito. Okay? So, I will close na itong yung case study. So, dito, kung sino yung nandito lang, yun lang yung magsasubmit nitong case study. Dito ko ipapalagay yung group members ninyo. Wait, I will present to you. Saglit lang. Sino naka-open ng PVCs? Class. So, try to explore ng PVCs ha. Kasi magagamit nyo din yan sa fourth year. Kahit yung iba, kung meron kayong makikita na free, lagi lang tayo dun sa free muna na software. Yung Open Solar, pwede nyo din siyang gamitin. Okay? So, wait. So, dito sa case study ninyo, you need to look on a particular locations wherein there is a need for a development of a PV system. It depends on you kung anong types ng PV system yung inyong gagawin. Okay, whether hybrid, grid, or off-grid system. Okay, so ano yung need natin gawin? So, identify ninyo yung location, ano yung area doon, ano yung irrigation, di ba? Ano yung kanyang sunpat. Okay? So, dapat aware din kayo kung ano yung ating total load sa system. Okay? Yung ating demand. Ibig sabihin kasi ng demand kung ano yung energy requirement natin. Okay? So, kaya kailangan ma-identify natin siya. Ano pa? So, kailangan din natin ng ng software. Kung gagawin natin yan, ano ang applicable sa kanya. Okay? So, yung inyong gagawin is this one. Fill upan ninyo lang ito. Share ko sa inyo. So, kahit saan siyang particular location. So, kailangan meron kayong energy requirement or meron kayong load assessment. Teka lang, i-present ko sa inyo. I will present it to you para meron kayong Okay. So, ito yung inyong case study 2. Kita nyo? Class? Hello?
Yes po.
Okay. Sa ito, okay, so kailangan meron kayong following initial assessment. Case study 2 is about, okay, looking, okay, in a location here in the Philippines wherein we can design a PV system based on their needs. So, ibig sabihin, i-check muna natin yung problem on that particular locations. Why is it needed to have the design of the PV system on that location? And then, you need to figure out, okay, ano yung effective area niya na pwede doon sa system, ano yung irrigation, ilang PV panel ang pwede, anong type of PV panel, yung component sizing, syempre ano bang components ng isang PV system. You need to have the battery sizing, charge controller, inverter, wirings, 'di ba? Circuit breakers, okay? Ano pa? Yung mounting structure ninyo, anong gagawin niyo sa kanya? Ano yung software, ano yung load assessment, and then yung project cost. Nakuha ninyo? Class? Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. So, una, anong gagawin on this case study? Look on the particular locations here in the Philippines wherein there's a need to have a design of a PV system. Understood? Hello? Okay? Ito, continue na hanggang matapos nito. Kasi itong case study 2, okay, this is in preparation nung gagawin ninyong design. Nakuha? Class, itong mga to are initial assessment and design calculation para magamit natin siya in your software. Understood? Hello? Nakuha? Class? How about the others? Naintindihan nyo ba? Hello? Kaya uutay-utayin natin yan kasi kailangan matapos natin siya yung design ninyo hanggang week 16 para yung week 17 yun ay presentation ninyo. Okay? So, or kung hindi man umabot ng presentation, so at least ma-submit ninyo yung required natin na computation. Nakuha ninyo? Class?
Yes po.
Any question? Or clarification?
Hanggang kailan po ang pasan ng case study ko po?
Ito, next meeting. Kasi, week 14 na, next meeting. Okay? 14, 15, 16, 17. Tama ba? Week 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Tama. So, week 14, ang submission yan. Okay? Kasi, kailangan ay by week 17 makomplete natin siya. Okay? Week 17 kasi submission niya kasi week 18 ay week 17 kasi exam kaya dapat before exam ay masubmit natin. Nakuha niyo, class? Hello? So, 14 this week, 15, 16. So, 3 weeks, tapos week 17. So, before week 17, kailangan masubmit natin siya kasi may final exam pa tayo. Naintindihan? Ito na yung last case study natin in relation siya nung inyong another assessment which is yung design ng PV system natin. Nakuha? Class? Hello? Okay? So, yung isang, siguro yung inyong assessment is yung paggamit ng software ng trainer natin sa taas para at least meron kayong actual. Tapos, yung isa is yung design. Nakuha? Class? Hello?
Yes po.
Any questions or clarifications? So, kaya kailangan you need to become familiar with the PVCs. Yan naman hanggang 4th year magagamit ninyo yung tool na yon if you go in solar, okay? So, magagamit ninyo yung inyong software. Kaya kailangan dito pa lang maalam kayo on the use of that software para pagdating ng 4th year, maalam kayong gumamit. Nakuha? Class?
Yes po.
Okay. So, yan, you need to meet kung sino yung group numbers natin, okay, on case study. So, sila na din hanggang design. Nakuha ninyo? Hello? Any questions or clarifications? May tanong, class? Okay. So, naintindihan ba yung gagawin sa case study number 2? Hello. So, to be submitted next meeting. So, ito. Ang gagawin ninyo dito, ito naman, initial pa lang. Okay? So, dapat ito yung content nung inyong, kahit sa short bond paper muna, kasi yan naman ay initial assessment pa lang natin. Okay? So, sa bond paper nyo na lang siya ilagay lahat. Short bond paper, itong the following components na yan. Tapos, dito sa link na to, wait. This one, dito kayo maglalagay ng per group para hindi kayo pare-parehas din ng location. Open nyo to. Yan. Kindly open yung case study number 2. Ilalagay ko, ito ay sheet ninyo. EE 3206. Okay? So, try to open this one. Yan. So, yan, pwede ninyo siyang ilagay. For example, ay, ito ay for group 1. Okay? Group 1, group 2, and so on. Group 1. Yan. Okay? So, ilagay nyo dito kung ano yung problem on that location. Yan. Tapos, continuous na siya. Pwede ninyo itong kopyahin. Okay? Tapos, sunod-sunod na siya for other groups. Understood? Class? Hello? So, pwede kayong mag-initial input dito sa Excel na to. Tapos, saka nyo siya ilipat sa short bond paper. Naintindihan? So, maglalagay ako ng template niyan din sa inyong Google Classroom. Pero for now, yan muna yung i-inputan ninyo ng information. Understood? Class? Yes, Julius.
Naka-view only lang. Hindi po kung
Naka-view only. Hindi kayo makapag, share ko. Viewer. O, yan. Okay na. I-reload mo. Yes. Diana.
Ma'am, kayo po mag-a-assign ng groups or kami po ang pipili?
So, for this case study 2, since kayo ay, sino ba? Kasi wala yung other members ninyo. Hello? Kasi
yung
kayo,
dati po, ma'am.
oo, pero ngayon, madami kasing wala. Ang dami kong diniscuss ngayong araw, ang daming wala. 29 lang kayo. Okay? Eh, kayo ay 38. Nasaan yung iba? Okay? So yung mga yun, magdi-design ng kanila, magsama-sama silang mga wala ngayon. Okay. So, kung sino lang yung nandito, okay? So, kayo ay 29. Stop ko to, ha? So, mag-i-screenshot ako ng attendance. Okay? So, kung sino lang nandito, kasi ang dami ko nang na-discuss. So, kayo lang yung magsasubmit ng case study 2. April 19, 2026. Kadami ko nang na-discuss. Hindi naman nag-i-inform. Yan. So, kayong 29 ang group ng for case study 2. Naintindihan? Kasi after nyan ay design na using software. Understood? Hello? Nakuha? Class? So, yung inyong attendance is already put here. So, kindly open. Any questions or clarification? Clear ba sa inyo yung gagawin? Hello? Naunawaan? Okay. So, yan. Pakilagay na lang ng group members din sa baba. Nakalagay naman din ni group 1 and then just copy. So, dito nyo siya ilalagay. Kasi ito, gagamitin natin siya in designing a PV system. So, yung guide ninyo for you to do this, i-upload ko sa Google Classroom. Understood? Dito lang para kita ko na kung sino yung magkakagrupo and then kita ko din kung bakit kayo doon nag-proceed on designing a PV system. So, kaya siya case study, it's because you need to check ano yung problem there, why do we need to have this design of a PV system. Understood? Okay? So, katulad ito nung inyong mga ginawa last time, kung mababasa ninyo, nag-design sila and nag-develop sila na ng isang PV system. So, ganyan din yung inyong gagawin on your last assessment. Understood? So, bago tayo mag-final exam, okay, so you need to submit yung ating, yung inyong design ng PV system ninyo. Nakuha, class? Hello? Hello? Nakuha ninyo, class? Okay, so kung wala na kayong questions or clarifications, okay, be sure to submit this case study number 2 next meeting. Try to explore the use of the software like PVSys and review all of our learning materials, most especially on the design and financial analysis of a PV system. Okay, so thank you very much, class, for your attendance this morning. Keep safe.
Thank you po, ma'am.